Welcome back to my channel, everybody. This is Soulstice Revival. If you are new, make sure to subscribe and click the bell so you can get notifications on when I upload new content. Also, don't forget to like and share with anybody who you think would love to hear what I'm offering you today and going forward. What I'm offering you today are transformational tips as well as intuitive guidance. And we always pull cards for this. So the first one we have is Between Worlds, number 3, if you do numerology. And our nature card today is Forest, and it says Breath. Now, when I saw that, I thought it was like perfect synchronicity because I am working remotely at my brother's house in Palm Coast, and you can see behind me this beautiful Zen area that his girlfriend created. There is a sycamore tree, which I love and resonate so much with the Pocahontas song, Colors of the Wind. And it even says in there, by the way, the heron and the otter are my friends. Okay? You know that I love the blue heron, also otters. Anyway, so there's a sycamore tree here, and we've got cedar trees, and we also have pine trees. I even got a little pine cone to honor Earth when I'm doing ceremonies or rituals, or setting intentions. Anyways, let's get down to it. Forest and breath. Now, you know what is interesting is we get these two cards, and Between Worlds is a card that symbolizes transforming, stepping out of this old way of thinking, like black or white thinking. It's all or nothing. I actually am going to upload a separate playlist of videos that offer mental health tips, including these irrational thoughts that get us stuck and keep us from finding that power within us to live a life where we feel like we're thriving. Anyways, so one of those ways we think in a harmful way is all or nothing, black or white thinking. If you failed at an exam, you're stupid. You just write it off. This is a great year, election year, okay? I hate to break it to you, but election year always creates that sense of duality, the black or white thinking. It's like we can't see the gray. And we're right now in 2020, we are seriously being called to come into the light, come and see the colors, come and see what's beautiful in the world instead of focusing on what isn't going right, which is another irrational thought that I will be talking about today on a separate platform, and that is mental filtering, how we focus on the negative and we forget all the positive. And this shows up even in relationships when you focus on your husband having not done the laundry and having not done the dishes and forgot that he cleaned up the garage for you, he cleaned the toilets, the bathroom. And so really shifting how we experience our perspective, how we experience our relationships and interactions, our communication with others, it's all relevant. And to become more aware of how you might be keeping yourself feeling stuck, angry, sad, depressed, lonely, it's really coming back to just raise your awareness, start noticing the thoughts, and be okay with negative thoughts. We often don't want to look at our shadows, and this was inspired by this teacup that my brother's girlfriend has, the Mad Hatter. We are all a little mad sometimes, so it's okay for us to acknowledge what we need to work on. It's part of the shadow work. It's part of how we can develop healthier relationships, because we can recognize when we begin or where we end and the other person begins. So awareness. And right now, I think there's a lot of, there's tension everywhere. It's blue versus red. If you're one side of the spectrum, you want to blow everything up. And if you're on the other side, you're racist, you're this, you're that. There is no in between. And I'm not about that. I'll tell you right now, I'm team indigo, team purple. We got to come together. We have to see that there is a bigger picture here. We can't just focus on this one tree. We need to fly above, or we need to go out into the forest and see that amongst these cedar trees behind me, there's one sycamore tree. If I was only focused on the sycamore tree, I'd miss all the beauty and everything around us. So, and no matter what is going on, so you might be leaving somebody, some of you might be leaving relationships, setting boundaries with people, making difficult decisions, having to change your routine so that you can step into what it and who you want to be. So it's not going to be the best, it's not going to be the easy road, but that's the best part. Detours are obstacles, are detours in the right direction. And don't forget to breathe. We can overwork ourselves, we can freak ourselves out, we can overwhelm ourselves so we're having these anxiety attacks, and we just forget that if we just come back to our breath, it's so wonderful. Three deep cleansing breaths is sometimes all we need to ground ourselves back into the present moment. And there's other ways you can do that. It's going to be all right. I know some of you are going through a difficult time, like a tower moment if you were reading a tarot deck, but it's for the best. And it's only after we go through it do we recognize the lessons, do we recognize what we gained and the strength that we acquired because of that dark phase, if you will. The last thing I'll say is just don't forget how important it is to look at your shadows, to look at your faults, because we are the common denominator in all of our problems, each and every one of us, that applies to. And the only way that we're going to be able to walk into that colorful life instead of living a gloomy one is by opening ourselves up to possibilities, opening ourselves up to this idea that perhaps doing it my way hasn't worked, and why would I do the same thing and expect a different result? Perhaps it's time for me to listen so I can understand other ways, so I can understand how to maneuver through the dark and the light. We just had a new moon yesterday, so this is a great time to set intentions. What do you need to bring forth? I saw a wonderful ritual online that talks about self-love and looking yourself in the mirror. And that is such a difficult exercise. I mean, how often when we're doing our makeup or getting ready for work do we avoid making that eye contact within ourselves, because the eyes are the voice of the soul. They truly are. And it's terrifying sometimes, but the ritual goes on to, after you do that, to write your experience, to write your thoughts, your reflections on how that process was for you. And then the last part is to list 10 things that you will do and you will attempt to do in this new moon phase and bringing forward in your life, even after this phase of the moon cycle. So the 10 things that you would do to show yourself more self-love. Like for me, it's just making sure my finances are straight, because I want to welcome in more abundance. And sometimes if I don't do my part, I'm not going to receive, because spirit or divine source, whatever, God, doesn't see that my efforts are really wanted. Like I've got to put in the effort and say, yes, I want this. And I have to start looking at things different. So the self-love is just to be more compassionate, whatever it is for you. Maybe you want to do that exercise. It's wonderful. It's going to be all right. I know it's stormy. The light is here. You're stepping into it. For those of you that have made significant changes, this is an affirmation that you are on the right path, and keep doing what you're doing, especially because we have number 3 here, which is like the Holy Spirit. You might want to look that up. All right. Have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you guys soon.